Every time you do something, someone's gonna hate. I don't want to watch this. Like, this is really dumb. Throughout that, there's thousands of times I wanted to quit.
Did anyone give you like, you're never gonna be famous? What are you doing? You're wasting your time.
Rich is gonna interview me.
Oh, what's your name?
William Rossy.
How old are you?
I'm 23. How old do you think I was?
Mid-20s?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mid-20s is fair.
Yeah, okay. Before doing your whole Instagram thing, what were you doing before?
I was in finance. I was in investment banking, and I was working long hours for some company that I wasn't really passionate about doing. I quit that job and started this after 11 months of working there.
And what inspired you to start this thing?
So basically what I did is I worked 2 full internships there, and so I was there for almost a year. And after the second one, they gave me a return offer, which was a full-time offer. Like, once I graduate, this is what I'm doing. You know, I'm signed in. I asked myself, like, is this what I want to be doing for the rest of my life? Once you say yes, you sign yourself up to start thinking a certain way and accepting things that you aren't happy with, but that people around you say are right. And so what I did is basically I said, do I want to do that? Do I want to like succumb into those pressures? And I said, I have no idea what I'm going to do if I don't do this, but probably find something I'm more passionate about. So I said no, and then I thought about the fact that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like, I had always wanted to be one. Whenever you start a business, you want to think of problems, right? Like, a good business solves a good problem, and a good problem to solve is one that personally impacts you and people around you. So the problem that I was facing was, why did I say no to that job offer, but all of my friends who hated it as much as me said yes? And I realized that I had been working on myself for 5 years before that. Like, I had been journaling every day, had been meditating, had been actively like trying to learn about who I am and what I want. When that time came that all the pressure was there in like the signature, I was able to say no. If I did this, I wasn't going to be happy.
Right.
But I think most people don't know that. I said, let me start a business that teaches people how to build the mindset to think for themselves, and that when they get to that situation in their life, they can say no and they can follow their dream.
So, and how long have you been working on this Instagram page?
I've been doing the whole social media thing for 2.5 years, mainly YouTube.
And what was the hardest thing about starting this career path?
The hardest thing is that I literally knew nothing, like, because coming out of a finance major and like working in banks, I know how to value a stock, value a bond. Like, I have those kind of Excel hard skills, but I have no actual skills on storytelling, coming up with a video, editing it, filming it. Never used a camera before. Was super introverted as well. Like, I was very shy. So when I started doing this, everyone around me was very surprised. And I knew that like when I started doing that, people would be very shocked about it. When you're in finance and consulting and all those jobs, like, that's the respectable thing to do. Like, and then doing this is like, oh, okay, so you're not working. Like, so you're just gonna have fun.
Right.
So I had to deal with those pressures as well. And then finding the skills to start doing this.
Did anyone give you like, oh, like what, like your Instagram page, you're never gonna be famous, you're like, what are you doing? You're wasting your time.
Probably. I don't retain those things, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's always haters. Like, every time you do something, someone's gonna hate. At the beginning, when you start, everyone's like, oh, that's cool, you know, I'll follow you, like, it's cool. And then as you continue to post, everyone's like, I don't want to watch this, like, this is really fucking dumb, so I'm gonna unfollow you, we're good. And then I'm like, okay, I'm alone now, so if I want to quit, I could quit and no one's gonna say anything. But then I had to push past that, and then eventually, like, you start getting more successful, like, quote unquote successful with the views and followers and everything, and then people come back and you're like, what's going on here?
Right,
you know,
right.
Who was here from the beginning? But I would say, like, no, my family's super supportive, my friends are super supportive, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that hate it. It takes a lot of guts to do what you do, and anytime you do something that takes a lot of guts to do, people around you who aren't doing those gutsy decisions, they feel that. It's like, oh, if he's doing it, that's kind of putting me in my place, and I don't like that.
Right. What's kind of like your goal, or where do you want to be in 5 years?
I want to change the way education works. It's my big thing. So I believe that, like, okay, if you go to school, you know, you learn like what's respectable for your job, like your career. We don't teach people enough about themselves. I want to be building this education platform that works hand in hand with governments, universities, high schools, anything. So to provide them like this whole like course and guideline and classes and workshops and retreats and everything about how to discover who you are and what you want.
For all the people that don't know who they are, what's your advice? How does one find themselves?
For me, it was journaling. I've been journaling for 6 years, pretty consistently. I built this journal that's like a 365-day workbook. Over the course of my life, I was like, oh, well, how did this help me? So I made one book that from day 1 to day 365, it like guides you. The other thing is like what you're doing, traveling. Do something that most people wouldn't do. And I think that's what you gotta be willing to do in order to figure out who you are. For example, pretty girl walks by you, like, and you wanna talk to her, and the initial thought is like, I wanna talk to her. And then the next thought is like, nah, she's not gonna be interested. Then you're like, let me talk to her, like that, doing that, and then you learn from that experience, and whatever aspect of life that is, let your mind push past what your body says.
Have you heard of the 3-second rule?
What's the 3-second rule?
When you think of like you want to do something,
Yeah.
you got to do it within 3 seconds.
Cool.
Because the more you hesitate, the
Yeah.
more you take your time, like
Yeah.
more than the 3 seconds,
Yeah.
you start to think of excuses.
You-
It's more like impulsive things, right? Just like talking to a girl or
Yeah.
just whatever. It's not like, do I want to quit my job? That's not a 3-second. It doesn't count. It doesn't count for that. But
Right.
like it's more like like talking to a girl or just something spontaneous.
I always say life is just a series of split-second decisions that
Yes.
you either choose to make or choose not to make.
Right.
And the quality of your life depends on the decisions that you made or didn't make.
What's your piece of advice to someone that wants to get started on social media?
Know that it's not easy, it's not quick. For me, it took a really long time to figure out what I wanted to do. I always had my dream, like I always had my mission, but I didn't know how to make that happen. So I went like all over the place and spiraled. Throughout that, there's thousands of times I wanted to quit.
What motivated you through the hard times?
Anytime you start a business, it's an idea, right? I have the idea in my head. To go from that to now like other people who are like, yo, I love your stuff. Like it's a mindset, which is just, it's my motto, is it's a mindset. So people would be like, yo, it's a mindset. And I'm like, dude, like I was like sitting in my room, like, or I was with my cousin, like thinking about like a motto. And now like people are saying this. You hear that every now and then, and you see like people believe in it. You see like you inspired someone a little bit. I always chase impact and not followers and views. And a lot of people chase followers and views and not impact. That's why there's a lot of content out there that's a bit pure entertainment and it's mindless. Find something that you're genuinely passionate about and own it. Even if you're 30, doesn't mean that you figured life out. Like it's so young. I've talked to 85-year-old, 90-year-olds who still do new shit every single day because they don't know what life keeps evolving and changing. So like if you're gonna do something you're passionate about it, just do it and stick to it and like understand that it's not gonna be easy and life's not about instant gratification. It's about like working hard for something.
Well, you're so inspiring, man.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, you're definitely going to like this one right here. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Will, and as always, it's a mindset.